Just out walking the dogs on a beautiful morning here at Cogra Moss. Look at this. Spring is here, but I know that lots of people are worried about energy prices, home heating oil, as well as prices at the petrol station. And I just wanted to give you a few thoughts and answer a couple of questions that have come up about that in the last few days. So the government's approach to this is to make sure we take lots of action to support consumers, members of the public, with the rising cost of fuel. We know that the overall concerns about the cost of living crisis means that that's particularly important right now. We're watching the situation really carefully because obviously it could change within a matter of days, so we'll keep that under close review, and we've indicated that next week we're going to announce some support for people that are reliant on oil in their homes, and I know that's a big issue here back home in West Cumbria, so we're going to keep a very close eye on that. And of course it underscores the importance of getting to a place where the UK has got energy sovereignty, where we're in control of our own power, so that we're not relying on global events like what's going on in Iran. That's why we've got this clean power mission by 2030, which is all about renewables, but it's also about nuclear. And this week the government has announced a whole bunch of measures to speed up the support for building new nuclear power, and that will benefit us at Pioneer Park as well. So some really important stuff. I'll keep you up to date on what's going on with government policy over the next few weeks as that happens. And then locally, I've published a campaign about fairer fuel prices, massive variation in fuel costs at the pump, so have a look at that. And I've written to all of the operators because we've got massive variation in the price of petrol and diesel. Can affect people up to £10 each time they fill up the tank, depending on which petrol station they're closest to. So lots of stuff on that front, but the politics of this is also really important, and this is where who you vote for does make a big difference. Had Kemi Badenoch or Nigel Farage been in Downing Street 2 weeks ago when this conflict began in Iran, both of them had initial instincts which were to jump both feet in first to the conflict without asking questions, without thinking fully about the British national interest. That would have meant that Britain would have been fully engaged in the offensive action, and of course the impact of that is now being seen coming through on oil prices for consumers. Interestingly, Nigel Farage, having said we should be fully engaged in this, is now saying we shouldn't be getting involved in a foreign war, and that's in the space of 2 weeks. So this is dodgy judgment from someone who wants to be your Prime Minister, someone who's had pretty dodgy judgment on foreign affairs for a long time, whether it's admiring Vladimir Putin or his judgment in the last fortnight. And of course both parties are now going really soft on Britain getting energy security, energy sovereignty. They don't back our plan to get clean power by 2030, and that would leave us exposed and hitched to global commodity prices for oil and gas. And you know, both of those parties say, well, we could just drill more in the North Sea. The licensing and the construction of all of that would take years to come through, and those are commodities that are sold on a global market. The price is set globally, it's not set by each individual country, so it would not take a penny off people's bills. Whereas what we're doing with wind, with solar, with nuclear, that has the chance to mean that we can wrestle control as a country of our energy prices, which is so fundamental for the cost of living right now, but it's also essential for getting economic growth, because the industrial costs of energy and the domestic cost of energy is so huge. So look, this is where politics becomes real. I know lots of you will not be thinking about the politics of it, which is fine, but I think it is worth me highlighting how the views and attitudes of different parties is playing out in the amount of money that you spend every month. Labour is totally fixed on this issue, making sure that we protect you with what's going on globally. You know, the Chancellor had Competition and Markets Authority in yesterday to talk about fuel prices. We're going to share some news next week about support for people with their domestic energy if they're on gas or oil. And we're going to keep a really close eye on this. And throughout all of it, make sure we focus on Britain's national interest, which in the medium term is all about getting energy security and getting us off the roller coaster of global fossil fuel prices. Anyway, that's my dose of politics for the morning. I'm going to carry on walking the dogs and then go for a run later in the hope that I can keep my legs moving at anywhere near the rate of Gary McKee. See you later on.